My dad was a farm boy from Iowa. He attended a one-room schoolhouse just like the one in this picture. When he was 18, he enlisted in the Navy for the big one, WW2. He was a part of the first group of underwater demolition team, a group that in later years would turn into the Navy SEALs. He was very, very proud of his service in the Navy. We moved from Iowa to Arizona in 1960, but Dad remained an Iowa farm boy at heart. In 2001, Dad and I went back to Iowa for what would be his final visit. We traveled the old roads and visited his old friends. At the end of 2003, my dad was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease. He knew what was happening to him, and he hated it. And in addition to this, I had already been diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, and Dad could never talk about that without weeping. He hated it when we took away the car keys. And when my mother at 80 said she just couldn't care for Dad anymore, we knew it was time to find a care facility. And at that time, Mother turned Dad's care over to me, so I found a memory care unit near my home, so I would be close and available to help Dad when he needed it. And so I was his caretaker for the last 9 months of his life. Dad resented the fact that my mother got to stay at home, but he did not. I was always honest with him, and I told him the reasons he could not safely live at home. And I told him that the ultimate decision had been mine. He still didn't like it. After moving my dad to the assisted care facility, I would frequently get phone calls from him saying, "Jean, I'm ready to come home now. Come and get me." And I'd say, "Okay, Dad, I'll be there in about 20 minutes, okay? You sit right there, and please tell the staff that I'm coming right down." Of course, I had to explain to Dad that this was his home now and why he had to stay there. But shortly after that, I decided to write him a letter and put it on a piece of cardboard. And it told him that who he was and where he was living and why he was living there and why it was too dangerous for him to live at home, because he would get up and cook in the middle of the night, or unlock the house and sit in the middle of the front yard, or try and do irrigation, or walk down the middle of the street in the middle of the night. Once I had this letter, I gave it to the staff, and then the next time he would call me and ask me to come home, the staff would get the letter and read it to him and give it to him to read. And I quit getting so many phone calls. Take care of yourself and your health as well. I live with Parkinson's, and caring for a parent with Alzheimer's was exhausting for me, even though Dad didn't live with me, but in assisted care. My having responsibility for him took its toll on my health. But I'm glad I had that responsibility. I'm glad I had that time with him. At the end of his life, my dad just prayed he could die and be with my brother, who had passed away many years before. And at the end, he got his wish. But I will miss him. Let's fight these diseases, Alzheimer's and Parkinson's, and let's put our brains together and support brain research.